Hello everyone out there in YouTube land, Esper here. I hope your holidays went well. So the other night I was playing some D&D at this current group of mine that I have here at home. I'm running it's a new setting I've created, standard 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons setting that I've made called Bazagon, City of Mazes. We were having a great time. Really, obviously it was a really great time because at some point one of the players looked and he said, "It's almost 3 a.m., guys." And we realized that we'd been playing for 7 hours. And none of us had any idea that it was that late. And it just goes to show you how immersed you can get, how much fun you can have when you're really enjoying the story, the characters, the action, just everything that you're doing. When you're in that, it's truly like magic. You are in another world, even though you still, have you're talking about your tactics and your out of character stuff and your metagame stuff. But despite all that, you're still in this other state. That's really incredible to me. And I was thinking a lot about, tabletop role-playing games and just role-playing games in general, and why they appeal to so many people and they resonate so deeply with so many of us. It's been a cool campaign. It's only been running for about a month now, and they were just entering into a new dungeon called the Royal Crypt, and 2 of the 4 characters did actually die at one point. Really, it was one of the early parts of the dungeon, and really the first actual encounter, danger type room that they got down into. And there was this big trapped room, Path of Blades trap, where you have this long, wide corridor, and at first there's these whirling blades, and there's a section where these pillars that crush down from the ceiling. Then the last section is under this rune of fear. And at the beginning, the sorcerer and the monk just kind of rushed into this wildly without knowing too much about what was actually going on. The ranger followed just a little ways after them, and the bard, he paused. The bard's actually the newest player in the group. He's brand spanking new to D&D. He stayed back. I don't know if that's such a good idea. So the sorcerer and the monk both ended up perishing to this deadly trap. The ranger was actually able to pull both of them out of that crushing pillar area, so their bodies were not obliterated, and then he made it back pretty hurt, but he was able, and the bard was like, live, word of healing. So he actually made it back. Luckily, this well, I guess we're gonna say luckily, fortunately for them, this area, this royal crypt, sits underneath this massive complex that is actually the home base of operations of one of the major factions of the city, which is a pretty religious faction. And they were able to then go into a role-playing interaction scene, convince one of the prelates, the mistress of the slumbering faithful, to revive the characters. Now there were some agreements that they had to make, so some stakes got raised. They're kind of in debt, and now they're going to have to be aligned with this one faction and unaligned with other factions in doing so. In any case, they got the characters' resurrection. They went back, and this time actually used a little bit more tactic and thought. They used some skills. They ended up using a whole different approach on this trap room, went about it with much more wits instead of brawn, and just reckless. We're just going to rush through this without thinking ahead, and they were able to actually deal with it pretty well the next time through, very, very well. They went on to fight a mummy king of worms, and the dragon sorcerer just roasted this mummy. And what was next? And then they eventually got into this old temple area. It's kind of an old ruined underground temple, and they got ambushed by drow. And that was a big fight. It was one of those cool fights where there's the main area, but then there's like this upper balcony. There was some drow up there with crossbows. There was a drow cleric, and there was this cracked floor. They'd come up from these stairs, but there was this crack in the floor. So at a couple points, they kind of retreated back down the stairs tactically to heal and kind of avoid some attacks. But there was a couple times where the crossbowmen were actually able to shoot through that crack. So it was kind of like a 3-level encounter area with some other features to it as well, like this crumbling temple with some different corridors and pillars and such. So that was a really cool fight. A couple of them got knocked unconscious, but they got healed again, and in the end they retreated, but they'd actually taken out a couple of the forces of the drow, so I ended up giving them some experience points. I gave them a fair amount. I mean, it was not a complete victory, a complete win, but they knocked out dispatched of 2 of the enemy's numbers, and were tactfully able to retreat. So I thought, yeah, it was like a 3/4 win. So in the end, it turned out to be a very, very memorable session. 7 hours. It did not feel like that. We all thought, okay, we've been playing for a while. Maybe it's been like 3-4 hours. And when we were done, we didn't really feel. I mean, we felt tired, but we weren't like, oh, I'm sick of this or I'm exhausted. Like, we were just, it's late. We just wrap this up. But man, you got to make your games great. You gotta, don't settle for mediocre and just the same old stuff that everyone's seen 1,000 times before. Don't get caught up in the bickering. Really what you need to do is believe in your own idea and go out and test it out. It's the same thing here with YouTube, with posts I make on Reddit, on Facebook. Sometimes you have this idea, you feel really strongly and passionately about it, and you try it, and there's going to be people that tell you that you're wrong, that you're a jerk, you're evil. They're going to try to tear you down. You're going to get a lot of opinions, but you're also going to get people that think, oh, okay, well, that's cool too. And you just got to go for it, and you just test it out, and you see what you liked, what your group liked, what worked good for you, what didn't work so well. You make some adjustments, and then you go and you keep trying, and that's the idea. You just keep going, and you keep trying to make it great. Don't settle for okay or decent, or those sessions where it just seems to kind of drag on and it's forgettable. Yeah, you don't want it to be forgettable. Boredom is the enemy. Negativity is the enemy. What you're searching for here is inspiration, memorable moments, and that's really why we all play these role-playing games, so that we have this shared memory creation together. We're telling living out stories through our minds, through our imaginations, through our interactions and our connections with other people. It's this amazing human storytelling experience, and these stories that we share in and that we tell, and that they stay with us for years, and we can talk about them later, and we can laugh, we can joke, we can kind of, we should have done this, or we could have done that, and kind of remix things in your mind. That stays with you, that shared sense. Man, that's what it's all about. That is why we play these games. It's cool to design powerful characters. It's cool to have combat strategies. There's a lot of neat facets to it, but the thing that's at the core is that shared memory making experience where you can keep that with you for a lifetime. So I wish you all a wonderful and prosperous 2018. Take some risks, take some chances, try some new things, shake things up a little bit, and really try to inject some feeling into your games, your sessions, your adventures, whatever exactly that you're doing. And do what you like, do what works good for you. So thank you so much. As always, thank you for being a subscriber and a follower of mine. I have all kinds of ideas for 2018. I can't wait to get things out. Thank you so much for everyone who's been supporting me on Patreon. Go take a look at the Patreon page if you want to see the cool things that are happening there. And I'll leave it at that. Have a great new year, everybody, and may your adventures be many.